Okay, so I'm going to introduce a gentleman I've known for quite a while now, and we've got a lot in common in that we've been through quite a lot of different things in the past. And one of the things we have in common is that we both were in the Amway business back in the 90s. This is before computers, so we were actually running businesses in a completely different way to today. And this gentleman became very, very successful in that business, and did rather well out of it. But he's also very, very successful in his life as well. And just to quickly go through, one of his career jobs was actually running the security for Luton Airport in the UK. So that was the head of security. So that's a good job. So he's coming from a good background. Retired I won't say whether it was an early age or not, but he retired a few years ago, and retired to the extent where he was actually able to not worry about anything. Just think about it. You've got people that that are retired. Colin's completely self-sufficient. He doesn't actually need this business as such, but now he's found he does need it because he wants a bigger house and a swimming pool and things like that. But prior to that, he was happy to carry on. He's paid off his house. He's a avid motorcyclist. He actually goes all around the world. Around the world. He goes all around the tracks around the UK and Europe with his son and daughter, actually riding bikes. And I've seen some of the stuff on the videos that he's posted, and they're brilliant. I'd be too frightened, but looking at them, they're really, really good, real professionals. But the main thing about that is it's a hobby, and it's an expensive hobby. And when Colin came into this, one of the things he did is actually sell one of his bikes for about 30 grand to actually put into Hyperfund. So, just think, there are people out there that you might be too frightened to contact because you think, oh no, they're retired, they've got lots of money, they don't want to do it. But, everyone has different dreams, different goals, different likes. Colin wants to also set up a legacy for his son and daughter. So, this is a great opportunity to allow them to actually get into the housing market and everything else. So, Colin, I think you're a great person. I've met you and talked to you loads now, and I think you'll have some brilliant stuff to share on today. So over to you.
Right. Okay. So, well, thanks for that wonderful introduction, Derek, and it's great to see you all here. And it's going to be a good evening. So I hope you've got a pen and paper handy, so you can write everything down that somebody else is going to say, because I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional speaker, and you'll gather that within a few short minutes. But I'm going to do my best. So a little bit of my story. Derek asked me to share my story, so I'm going to do that. Just a little bit. So as Derek's already mentioned, we were involved in a business. Some 28 years ago, I started in the Amway business. I didn't sponsor anybody for 6 months. I didn't want to get involved in it. I was scared of talking to people. I thought I had a great job. I only got involved because my lovely wife, Carol, got me involved in it. And I do everything for her, obviously. So I went along to prove to her what a lot of nonsense it was. And it turned out not to be. So I was in that. After 6 months, I actually sponsored somebody. And then within a short time after that, I was actually making really good money. And it was fantastic. And we enjoyed it. Quite a hard process, a damn sight harder than this business, I would say. So after Amway, got involved in many other network marketing. I love the business, got to love people. I never liked people before I got involved in this type of business. I used to start arguments so as I could win them, because I was good at winning arguments. Nobody wins an argument though, do they really? So I wasn't a very nice person, but thanks to the personal development available in business like this, I've changed a lot. It's helped mine and Carol's relationship, married for 38 years now, grown up together, which is fantastic. Lots of other benefits involved in business like this with like-minded people, and the training and support systems that are there. Absolutely amazing. So I hopped from one network marketing business to another over the last 28 years or so. And then Derek told me to have a look at this. We were already involved in another business together prior to this. Derek asked me to have a look at this, and I resisted first of all. I thought, well, I don't really want to move again, So I resisted for a month or so, or at least a month or so. But very fortunately for me and my family, Derek persisted. And I looked at this and I thought, yeah, this looks good. So I'm sure is I basically put a few $100s in for myself, few $100 in for my daughter, and a few $100 in for my son, just to see if it was work. Sure enough, I saw those 0.5% coming in every day, $1.50 every day. I thought, this works, crikey. I've never been in a business that paid me $1.50 the very next day. Amway cost me a lot of money the first 6 months with books, tapes, functions, and God knows what else, sort of training system we had to get involved in. It cost me a fortune before I started making any money. So when I saw this, I thought, well, that's just, it's a no-brainer really. So I ended up jumping in both feet. I sold one of my motorcycles, a quite expensive one. I put in $10,000 for Lindsay, $10,000 for Simon, and about $4,500 for myself. And it's been incredible because they've been getting their $50 per day. I don't know what they're on now, something like $37,000. I'm on about $80-something a day. I've never been involved in anything like that. So just incredible. So now I've got a bit between my teeth, and Derek set me a goal to get to expert. If you don't know what that is, check with the upline, because that's a good goal to go for. Derek's told me I've got to be there by November 13th, was it, Derek? I think something like that. Yeah. So I've decided to start putting my foot down a little bit now. So that's where I am right now. So we've got a few people sponsors, a few people in the room here tonight, and it's fantastic. I'm really enjoying the ride, enjoying the people. So what I'm going to talk about, okay, so is this business. So we get involved in this business. It was a little odd for me to get my head around this business. It's a much simpler business. It's very, very simple. And we all know we have three parts of the business. We have a passive income, basically, which we can use, which is great. Put your money in at a current offer. It's going to be tripled. So in 600 days, you're going to triple your money. That's great. Depending on what you put in, it's not going to really change your life, but it's as Calpress says, but it's nice, isn't it, to be able to triple your money in the next 600 days. Then we have the second phase to that, where again, still passive really, where we do minimal a bit. We literally, every time we get $50, we can rebuy a mini package, and that can multiply exponentially. Well, what we do is we just pile one package on top of another over the next 600 days, and you can end up with a ridiculous amount of money. That $300 can turn into quite a nice lump of money in 600 days, and then you can draw it out from then. So that's that. So we don't really need much else to add to that. It's quite simple, that kind of business. However, there's a third phase to the business, which can really accelerate your business and basically shorten the period where you can hit the real higher levels in this business. So question to ask yourself, do you really want a much bigger business than available to you? Do you want unlimited potential in the business? So if the answer to that is yes, okay, how do you get that off to a good start? Well, the way we do it, as Calpress says in the second part of his presentations, if you like, is to introduce other people to it. A referral type business, something I'm very familiar with in the past, because every business I've been involved with has been involved with referring. So by doing that, we offer people the opportunity, and in doing so, we help our businesses grow larger and produce much more income within a shorter timescale. So if that's what we want, I mean, does that make sense that you can do that? I mean, you can actually, increase your potential, build a much larger and longer lasting business by introducing others to it, sharing it with other people, other like-minded people, and helping them. That's what it's all about. Okay, so that makes sense to me. When I looked at it, I hadn't originally planned on doing that. When I looked at it, I thought that makes perfect sense to me. So got together with Derek, speaking to the others in our upline, and set about doing that. So I've shared this with a few people, but how do we do that? How do we actually start referring to people? Well, obviously we need people to contact. We need a list, and that's really what I'm going to talk a little bit about now. So I'm assuming we all have a list in our heads up here, but what we really need to do is we must start with a list of names of people to invite to this opportunity. Simple, right? But quite often it's not quite as simple as that, because we don't really know where to start. What do we do? We really need a sizable list, because And the reason for that is, it's not that we actually need it in this business. We don't need that many people in this business, unlike other businesses I've been involved in. However, what does a sizable list give you? It gives you more confidence. So, for instance, if I've got a pack of cards here, so out of these pack of cards, what we're looking for is the people who are going to be interested, the aces in the pack, if you like. If I need a list of, say, 6 people, well, just a few cards, what's the chance of me finding an ace in just a few cards like that? Not really much. Not much chance of finding aces in the pack there. So we need to develop a list of people, and the bigger the list, the better. Okay, so where do we start? Well, we've obviously got people in the head, yeah. But we also need to make a list of people that we can actually physically make notes on. So what I'm talking about is we can make my old school, it's all in the head, but I've got a phone list, basically my contact list on my phone. How do we do that? Well, who do we want to be on that list? Well, anybody we can think of. We need to make a list of everyone we know. And when I say everyone, I mean literally everyone. Okay, so where do we get these names from? I was told you the phone. So we have people we meet. Basically, our list really consists of what we need to do is split that list up into 3 different categories. Okay, so we'll get to that in a moment. So your list might consist of people on social media contacts, people we meet on a daily basis. And I like to use, once I've sort of extinguished people I can immediately think of, I like to use memory joggers. You might see ads or flyers or stuff, things like that. There's a good memory jogger, I think, that may come out in the Friday morning training. I don't know, but Nicholas has passed to me. So how many people have you got actually on your list? Have a little think about that. Just have a little think about that for a few seconds. How many people have you actually got on your list? What you need to do is add as many people as you can to that list. Okay? How many of us actually write down a list of names? For new people, it's probably uncommon for you to do that. Write down a list of names. Is there any order to it? I mean, I'm pretty terrible at organising things. You can tell. Just looking at me, I'm not very well organised. So I said before, we need to write down everyone we know, and that means everyone, not just people we think might be interested. There's an important reason for that, because I can guarantee you that you won't know the people who'll be interested in it. So never ever prejudge anybody. So I'm guessing that people who've written down a list here, or if not written down a list, even if you've got a mental list, I'll guarantee you've missed people off that list. You will do it because you would have prejudged. Everybody does it. They would prejudge and think, well, I know who's going to get involved and who's not. When I started with MA, we'd like to have 6 people sponsored then. That was the target. I knew the very 6 who were going to get in and take me all to the higher levels. The way it turned out is that none of those people got in. So I had to learn how to develop a list. Your list may be, so I tend to write my lists on a Word document, piece of paper, and I just make notes, literally scribble notes alongside and make notes of who I've contacted, who I've spoken to, who's gone to a presentation, and such like. And then what I'll do is I'll get back to that next day, who I've got to actually follow up. And I was saying, as Dex already mentioned, in the Friday morning trainings, we're going through some of the contacting, inviting and following up procedures, which will be more effective. And Derek's a master at that. So a lot to learn there. So on your list of people you make, okay, you can basically split that into 3 categories. So you've got category 1, which will be your hot list. This is going to be the people that you are very, very familiar with, friends, very close friends, family, those kind of people who would listen to you and maybe trust your judgment, although that doesn't always happen. But you know, these people are warm to you. They know you very well. Okay, so that's your hot list, and you should never, again. Some people will even prejudge them and think that certain members of their family wouldn't get involved. You know, and my brother, who introduced me to network marketing years ago, thought I was one of those. He didn't really want to contact me. He spoke to Carol, my wife. she got me involved, and he's good. He did, because I built a very large business, and he done really well from that. So never ever prejudge or miss anybody off the list. Put them all down. Okay. You may have people in your family who are more successful than you, or very successful. You consider them higher in station or higher station in life than yourself. These people you really need to be on your list too. Okay. So that's your family, or your hot contacts, if you like, and your very close friends. Then you've got your warm list. Okay, these would be the people who you may converse with on a regular basis, casual acquaintances and such like. Okay, you maybe not need to develop much more of a relationship with those people. Maybe just some small talk. Again, we're going to contact and inviting on the Friday morning trainings. But yeah, maybe you can contact those, but they need to be on your list. Only you can decide which category they're going to be in. Okay, and then you have a cold list, which basically you don't really know, or people you haven't even met yet. That can be a very area. Again, how you develop those people, subsequently invite them to look at your business, is a whole other subjects, which we'll be covering again on the Friday morning trainings. There's also a fourth. Most people have a list of people they're definitely not going to invite. Their chicken list. I think I've already spoken about that. Most people don't write these down. They're literally people you're frightened of speaking to. But when you look at this business, there's nobody. If you look at the success of even the people we've got in the room today, okay, you can't. There's nobody in the job, or even most businesses, that can match the sort of success we've got here in the room, and certainly not in this business. So I'll get back to that same thing again. Whatever you do, don't prejudge. You know, show this to people, let them make their own mind up. So that's all I can say about, you know, putting those people on the list. Don't exclude anybody. Okay. And really, I'm going to start begin to wind up a bit here now, because I don't want to go into contact, invite, and following up all the rest of it. That'll be covered on the Friday morning trainings. But basically, you need to develop and add to your list every day. Well, that's a goal, to keep adding to your list. Add them to the list, get them off the list. Add them to the list, get them off the list. Because at the end of the day, it's our job really to go out there and help people, and in order to help ourselves as well. It's fantastic. Get people on the list, show them this business, let them make their own mind, and then get them off the list, which Derek will touch a little bit on himself, I believe. So really, that's kind of me done there.
Okay, thank you very much, Colin, and that was really, really useful. No, thank you very much. That was good. It's good to actually remember. And the other thing, guys, think about this, right? If you get a directory, I don't know if they're still around nowadays, but go on Google.
Microphone, Derek, if you wanted to fix a microphone.
Is that better?
Much better.
Thank you. Yeah, so think about this, guys. If you get a directory or something with lots of careers in it, or just type into Google different careers, and while you're writing a list, think about this. I bet if I go through a few things now, you'll think of things. I mean, how many of you know postmen? How many of you know somebody that runs a stationery shop? How many of you know that runs a sweet shop? All these people can be put on the list. I'm speaking to my postman on a regular basis now that I'm at home. He comes and says, oh, you're there. And I said, yes, I'm in. And he says, oh yeah, okay, you've got some parcels. Now I know that within the next few days, I'm going to start developing that conversation. Okay, because I've started a bit of a relationship going. So think about anybody that you speak to on a regular basis. If you get coffee every morning at a particular pace, start talking to the person and say, oh, great, your hair looks nice today, or whatever. Just, start a conversation. and get good at it. And don't think you've got to join them up in anything. Don't think you've got to get them into hyperfund. The whole point is practice, and the only way to practice is to talk to people. I never used to open my video when I was on a Zoom call before. It wasn't the easiest thing to do, but I haven't got any problem now because I've done it that many times. And I think that's the key. So what I like to end with first of all is that, oops, there's a, is that from you, Nicholas? There's a back feedback coming from somewhere. Okay, yeah, what I'd like to end with is saying that the idea of these systems and what we're doing is not so that we, you know, people say, oh yeah, I know about list making. And I used to say to my upline, why do I keep going to presentations? Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep doing that? And he said to me, you know, at the time, and in fact, it might have even been Boris, he said to me at the time, and this was many years ago, well, you know, you're building up an income that's going to be quite a big residual income. When you get to the level you want to retire, do you want to have another job? And I said, no, we're trying to work our way out of a job. Okay, exactly. So imagine you've got, you know, 50, 100, 200, 1,000 people in your organization, and you've been building it, and there's been no one else to help you, except your upline maybe. Who's actually looking after that group? And then I'd say, well, me, I suppose, because I've got a few leaders here, and then I'm talking to them. So exactly. So you've actually created another job. So if you actually create an organization where the trainings are done, the presentations are done, everything is being done for you and your team, then you'll understand the benefit of the team. Now, I never understood it fully even until I fully retired, okay, because I'm not in everyone's business. I've got quite a big team. I mean, it's over 50 people now. And it's also, there's quite a lot of you leaders in there. And I'm not in those groups. They're already being run by the people. They're already being run by this system. We've got this training. You guys are on the training. The guys are on the training with Kalpesh on the weekends. You know, it's all being done for us. So think about this. If you're not attending those events, how can you stress the importance of those events to your people? You can't. And as your organization grows bigger, you'll begin to lose control, and things that might happen that will be out of your control that are not necessarily going to help your business. So it's important to stick your people into the system. The reason why we have the WhatsApp group, the Telegram group, is because we want to inform and communicate with everybody in the team. So I know some people are very protective of their people. They say, oh, they're my people. No, we're all one team, guys. You know, we're in one ship. So what we do is we work together, and you'll notice Nicholas is actually helping people outside his team. I'm helping everyone, obviously, because you're all in my team, and then people in Volker's team are here as well, and people in Boris's team, and we're helping everyone. So we work together as one team. We're not working as individuals. And by doing that, you'll find it works fantastic. You know, there are times when I might call upon Nicholas to talk to somebody for me. Maybe because he's, you know, in France or in Belgium, and he's got a bit more experience with dealing with French people. And I might say, Nicholas, you know, can you help me with this person? And even though he doesn't have any direct benefit, we all benefit each other. And the thing is, you know, it's a rising ship in the sea will rise together, not separately. And it's important to understand that now, before your teams get big, before your groups are big. You know, I can't wait for some of you to get to the level we are, because you'll have so much freedom. You just have to plug people into the system, literally, and the system will take care of the people. Granted, it's only just really starting and kicking off now, because this happens so fast. You know, normally to reach where I've reached now in any other business I've ever been in has taken 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And in 12 weeks, I was ready to retire. Can you believe that? I mean, that's so unimaginable. I still pinch myself today, 4 weeks into retirement, and I'm still sort of thinking, you know, job. I've got this thing in my head, you know, got to go to work. So it's really, really good. And you all are going to experience this, because every one of us is heading in that direction. How fast you get there depends on how many people you join or how much money you put in. So if you've got loads of money, great. If you haven't, do what I did. I didn't have the money, so I joined the people up. And that's helped immensely. And because of the team and the people I'm working with and the system we've got, that team is growing. So listen to your mentors, listen to your upline, particularly the ones that are successful. So what I like to do now is just hand over to to Nicholas, who you guys have heard a lot about over the weeks. You've been in the trainings, the 5 a.m., etc. So you all know him. But I'll get him to tell a little bit about himself. I've known Nicholas for quite a while now, and he's coming over to meet us in the UK this weekend, which is not very long. So I'll be picking him up at the airport on Friday and getting to know even better. I'm looking forward to that. But you know, we're working together. The reason why we meet and things like that on a regular basis is because we want to become better at what we're doing for you. And the whole point is if we work together well, then we'll work together well for you and your teams as well. So I'll hand over to Nicholas, and then I'll just have a little bit to say at the end. Okay, thank you, Nicholas. Let me just unmute you. Okay.
Thanks a lot. That's me. All right. So what can I say new about my story? I am from France, live in Belgium. I have a family of, well, my wife, my 2 kids, 4 and 6, plenty of work around the house already. And what else? I started investigating everything about entrepreneurship about a year ago. And I got lost many times, and then was looking for leadership or at least support. And this is how I got to meet Derek, that just gave a hand and led me into a first business, and then we passed to Hyperfund 3 months ago. And this has been such an amazing experience. Of course, in my previous experiences, I felt it was growing, but it was not showing in results. Now Hyperfund happened and results happened. So yeah, I still have to digest everything that's happening, but it's really life-changing since I've left my job. My last day is next week, Friday. So there's going to be something to celebrate this weekend as well. And I'm moving to Central America, which is the land where my wife is from, so that we can finally get close to family, because we've been living all over the world. That's a bit of my story. I traveled so much as well. And part of the work was actually pushing me around to travel. I was working on projects for engineering projects. And so I took my family around to many places. I lived in Germany for 2 years. I lived in Italy for a year and a half. I lived in Netherlands for 10 years, and now in Belgium for 2 years. So this is all side effects of the job. And at some point I just thought there was a tiny bit of financial pressure and a tiny bit of, now it's time that I take control and I take my family where I want, not where the job wants to take me. So this is actually how I got here. Okay, can I share the screen, Derek? I think I'm not. Oh yeah, I have the rights. So because Colin talked about the memory jogger, so I just thought I can share it quickly, just before. So it's gonna make the link with what I'm gonna talk about. I wanted to send the link, so I'm gonna do this right now before I forget. So don't open it yet. It's in the chat. Wait for me to finish talking about this. But it says exactly what Colin says, but at least you have notes if you didn't take notes. So step 1 is to make a list, as comprehensive as possible. And maybe I need to zoom in. Step 2 is degree of separation. So step 2 is looking at the list, think of people they know. So this is like the people that the friends of your friends. So then you can go look a little bit deeper and constantly expand your list, which is what Colin said. Everybody goes on your list. And the 4th one is network on purpose. So this is then when you've gone through all that, don't skip the steps, because what happens is that you're gonna discover, and this is what I discovered, if you start with network on purpose and you don't have support of your family. I mean, this is just something I shared last Sunday, I believe. When you start talking to people around you, they're the people that you care the most. They're the people that trust you the most. And something happens when all this connects. It's giving such a power. Don't underestimate it. It's really incredible. The nice other thing about the memory jogger, it tells, so family members, so this is, you know, who is your family, but at least it's helping you to focus on different categories of people. So who are my architect, bus driver, chiropractor, delivery person? Everybody is a prospect. So this is, just play with the document. This is, many times we have so much information around us. So it's just a reminder, there is information here. Use it. It's this is a PDF to download, so just do that. Even so, this is a template for a list, right? So maybe you want to print it out. And sometimes if you're too, like me, lazy, and you don't know that there is more at the back, you even have some scripts at the bottom of how to talk to people. And these are the Eric Worre scripts. So these have been tested and tested and tested, but about how to compliment. I'm not gonna read everything, but here this is about cold market prospect. You've given me some of the best service I've ever received. I don't know if it's your delivery person. You compliment the person, so they like to be complimented. So just have a look at this. You may for sure find some value in this. And then I used to do a presentation about the pipeline, and well, Derek, when he told me to talk about this training, so I thought, okay, I can reuse some of the material. So this is about how to bring people to any business in the world. I had fun when I presented this the first time. It's like, it's the same about people going to the bakery. How is the pipeline working with the bakery? So how do you get leads when you're a bakery? You get in the right spot. This is the only thing you do as a bakery. You get in the right spot. Do you send flyers? Normally not. But maybe something that happened in France is that they put some smells in the street, and you smell like croissant. Just like, this is attracting leads. You can already see this, like this lead magnet, if people are working online. So yeah, so leads is something that you generate, you attract, you get attention. But this is Colin covered that bit. So through contacts and appointments, then you go to presentation. So there, I'm gonna go in detail about what is in there, because I put a few slides summing up the best slides that I had before. Follow up, and finally you have to deal with your teams. So we start with the leads, and this is what Colin went through. So I just left it there because, so hot leads, warm leads, cold leads, where to find them offline, online. And the wonderful thing about this business is that you don't have to focus on online. This is where I was focusing so much, but everybody around, like your offline network is so much more powerful. So don't underestimate it. Again, your family, your friends, everybody around you, offline is super, super cool. So that's this circle of influence. This is my grandmother. Of course, these are the best people you want to help. This is precious. So don't forget them. Okay, so contacts, this is about communication. I guess maybe I can go a little bit about this. These are, I take all this, if you didn't follow the 5 a.m., this is the training of team sales that I put into my slides, but basically covering, 10 communication tips. So be interested in a prospect, be interested, not interesting. So when you're talking to a person, don't try to talk about you, but ask questions and be interested about them. I was gonna be mixing. Don't be distracted. That's obviously just turn off your phone, whatever. Have a sincere expression. I'm just gonna read them through, because I think for the sake of time, we're gonna keep this training a little bit shorter, but maybe we come back to some of the slides in a later stage. I think Derek is planning to cover these topics. You cannot skip communication, so they will be covered in more details, but I'm just gonna read through it so we have a complete training, but it's gonna go fast today. So communicate, use correct amount of assertiveness. So when you have the belief and you can communicate things without hesitation. Communicate easily, no tension, strain, fakeness. Make sure your body doesn't distract the prospect. So don't be distracted, but don't distract the other either. So that's that. Always tell the truth. Know what you're talking about. This comes with belief as well, in practice and attend the trainings. Communicate at the prospect's level. So be certain, like have an understanding who you're talking to, and don't talk about cryptocurrency when the person doesn't know anything about finance. So that's like this is especially important when we're talking about this business. Have the intention of making the other person's life better. Just like all of this is super, super powerful. I'm not going to go in details, but yeah, if you take notes or a screenshot, just give you 10 seconds if you want to take a screenshot, and then I go to the next. But yeah, and I guess it's 10 seconds. So then we go to appointments. Yeah, this was about contact building. Everybody goes on the list. What else did I put interesting in there? Grow your list steadily. It's everything I already talked about. Money is in a follow-up. Okay. Clean your list frequently, I guess, as well. So this is where the work is. So have a good, be organized around your list. And if you're not, learn to be organized and become professional about your business, because nobody can take care of your business except yourself. So that's this. I mean, the day that yeah, we can lean as much on the uplines, and actually this is one of the best tools that we have when we talk about leverage. Is the day we start in the business, we have actually the uplines, and we don't have yet downlines, but we have uplines. So at the beginning you leverage the uplines before you can leverage the downlines, and well, actually you keep on leveraging both all the time, but you're never there by yourself. And yeah, I don't know why I dropped that, but that's very important. And what else? Let me see what I put in there. Presentation. What this slide, so I have two slides, is prospect want and prospect don't want. So people, is a bit about psychology, but I'm not going to go too much into this. But you know what people want, of course, they want freedom. They want more happiness. They want happiness for the people around them. They want to be free from danger. I'm just reading a little bit here. Number 3, sexual satisfaction. I'm not normally talking too much about this, but this is a real thing. Not only consuming food, but living, living to the fullest, be socially respected. So all these things are also like things when you're talking to people, you need to be focused. When you're interested, this is what you need to listen. Which one is the one that is the most relevant to the person you're talking to? So that, same, if you like to take a screenshot, take a screenshot. But if I need to send a PDF, maybe send me a request, I'll send a PDF. That's all right. What they don't want: pain, fear, so that's, or yeah, fear of anything, by the way, because fear, you can break it down in so many things. So for me, at some point, it was fear of, well, before I took a big decision on Hyperphone, it was fear of letting my family down. So just need to understand this kind of things when you're talking to people. This is like, you need to be interested in people, otherwise you're just gonna miss everything. It's, by the way, it's super much easier to talk about this than to put it in practice. So yeah, I'm getting better as well. Yeah, so because this is about presentation, right? So sorry, I need to get back. So I was in the presentation stage, but the fact is, when you're in presentation, the presentation doesn't have to be, don't think of it here only the CalPush presentation. It's also presenting yourself. When Derek is going on a call with people, this is, the presentation is actually, you get the feel of the person, talking to them and getting this information as soon as possible. Because the fact is, if you get this and you actually identify these points early on, you can, how to say, push the buttons when a person is like not replying or something like this. It's like, I really want to help you to get your project, your thing going. So just, this is part of the presentation, because you need to have this kind of conversation with the people. And this is call it presentation, call it anything. And so the next slide I have here is also your story. You need to tell your story. If you're creating relationships, you need to understand the person, and the person needs to understand you, and you need to get used to tell your story. So this is your background, what you didn't like before, what you found. Hallelujah, we found Hyperfound. And how you feel about the future. And for me, obviously, I'm super pumped, and this is why I'm getting a bit of my success. I went to France because I also live abroad. But I came to France last month, And basically I was super, super happy because I got the chance to, well, for me, this was the life change. And people were just like super happy. And now even on the job, I have another week of telling everybody I quit the job, and they say like, what are you doing? Let's call. So I don't even have to ask for a call. They ask me to call them immediately. So yeah, that's the compelling story here is right there. But make your compelling story. When Boris explains, or Derek explains about even making 1.5 every day passively and growing every day, this is a compelling story. So every story, and if you don't think your story is good enough, leverage the story of others. That's another thing. So tell a compelling story, right? So it is not only your compelling story, you can use any compelling story. And leveraging the story of others is going to be like, let's see about leveraging the story of others. So I was working my 9 to 5, and I met Derek. I've learned so much about personal development that now I'm able to give so much value to other people and grow an income from this. And that's a compelling story for some people. So depending who you're talking to, but you don't have to. I mean, the story of others and how I met Derek and how Derek changed his life is also a compelling story. What did I write here? What does it work? Original content. Yeah, this is about Facebook, by the way, but nobody can argue about your story. Your story is yours. You can try to talk about hyperfund, blockchain, and everything. Everybody can have different opinions about things, but when you're telling your story, this is your story. Nobody will argue about your story. So, and when you're when you really want to connect with people, create relationships, tell your story. It is going to go a long way for building that relationship. And yeah, so I thought of stopping it here. After that is follow up and the team. Team building and working with your team. Follow up is basically just keep on building the relationship that I just talked about, and using the list that Colin talked about. And finally, plug them in the team. The team, it's on Telegram, it's on WhatsApp, whatever they prefer. And that's why we have different platforms. And now you have the chance to leverage the team. Boris, Derek, and everybody is, all of you are part of this community. So anybody that's going to be connecting in the team is going to identify to maybe to a person more than another one. For example, Derek the other day told me, okay, you have a person in Ghana, let's connect with my team member, because then people are identify and find ways to grow together and strengthen the bond and the commitments, and everything works better. So that's, I thought it was my last slide. Let me see. But yeah, I have no more slide. So that's this.
Okay, that was really, really good. Yeah, very, very good, Nicholas. I'd forgotten what that presentation you'd done before. I'd forgotten what it was about. It's really, really good. Okay, so guys, yeah, so it gives you a bit of an idea of the system, the way it processes and everything else. And we will actually break that down because there is a lot of psychology behind this. There is a lot of ways of making it work better. And that's the understanding. You see, for example, at the follow-up stage, this is crucial, right? And if you don't do it within 24 hours to 48 hours after they've seen a presentation, people begin to forget what they've seen, and the excitement that they had when they saw the presentation wears off. So generally, I tend to book that with people. So in other words, when somebody goes to see the presentation, I say, okay, after the presentation, when will you be free? Will you be free after or in the morning? What should we do? When do we catch up? I actually book a date with them. And the reason why is it keeps it in their mind, and it keeps you also focused on what you're doing, because you don't want to be chasing people for weeks, months, years, trying to find out if they'd watched the presentation or not. And it can happen because you can go back and say, have you watched it? No. Have you watched it? No. And it just carries on. And then what happens? You've got this list. It's getting bigger and bigger with people who haven't watched it, and you haven't crossed them off your list. I always want to cross people off, and it's not. And in my opinion, it's never a no. If you do this correctly in the right manner, in the right conversation, it's always a not now. I'm not ready. time of readiness is important, because people sometimes have things going on in their lives, and it's quite crucial. Today I signed up somebody, and he's been out of the picture for a long time, and I didn't even know, because I hadn't contacted him, that he was going through some stuff. His wife is very, very ill. He's had to leave his job. He's had to become a carer. He's looking after 2 children as well. So he's got no money coming into the household. He's had to rely on the state. So, you don't realize sometimes people are going through stuff. And, I just thought maybe, he just didn't want to do anything else after we spoke, because we did speak the last time we were in the last business, and we said, we found something. I actually wrote something to everyone, and I said, look, we found something that's going to replace our present business. But a lot of people didn't come back to me. So sometimes maybe that, even on my part, the onus is to go back to people and just find out where they are and what they're doing. Things change. And I have had people come back to me months later and then join in what I'm doing, because their circumstances have changed. As long as you keep in touch with people, particularly your friends and relatives, on a regular basis, and you don't have to talk hyperfund always to them. You can talk about other stuff. I do, but it's important that that you follow up on these people and you cross them off your list and it allows you to go to the next person. And that little thing that Nicholas has posted, the memory jogger, it's fantastic. I just thought of 2 people from that, just looking at that list now, who I haven't got on my list. It's amazing when you go through a memory jogger, how many people that you've not got on your list that you maybe ought to. And going back to prejudging, this is so crucial not to prejudge, because remember, every single person you bring into this has got a list. Okay, so if you don't want that person to come in because you don't think they're going to be good enough. I had a situation where I introduced somebody a long time ago, and they were in Portugal, and that somebody knew somebody in Brazil, and that person in Brazil brought in 500 people. Now, if the person in Portugal, I'd not put him on my list, and I've not bothered about him because I didn't think he was a big name. He never introduced many other people, but he just introduced that one person in Portugal, and that brought in 500 people. So don't ever prejudge people, because they might know somebody that's just going to explode this for you. And also, why would you not allow people the opportunity to see something like this? Every single person that comes in is being blessed, and all I can say is we've been blessed. I just to go through what my circumstances. Okay, I was a chef a few months ago, and I still am a chef, but I don't do it for a living, so I do it for fun now. But I was a chef a few months ago, and within 12 weeks of starting Hyperfund, I walked out of that job, and it was a well-paid job as well. The last job I had was a well-paid salaried job. It wasn't the hours I liked, though, 40 to 60 hours a week. But I was able to walk out that job and not even worry about the income I just lost. And that really surprised me, because at the time I thought I was really risking it. I was really worried about it. But, every single day I'm getting paid, and every single week I'm getting a pay rise. And so far since I've left my job, I've had 2 pay rises of $50 a day. That's $100 a day extra in the last 4 weeks. Imagine how many people get that sort of pay rise. I don't even know what $100 a day equates to a year. It's just mind-boggling what we're in, really. And we have an opportunity here to share with the people that are nearest and dearest to us, and we owe it to ourselves to first share with them, and then to your warm market. Yes, people might say no, so what? If they're not ready, they're not ready. But you owe it to actually share it. And the best way to share it is not to talk too much, because you're not experienced enough to tell them about this business. So you send them to a presentation, or you connect with somebody like Boris, like Nicholas, like me, people who've been in it a while and understand it better. Because I tell you what, there's one lady in here who's connected a lot of people to me, and nearly all of them have joined, and that's Joy. She's very new. She's one of the newest people in the team, and I can't believe how that business has actually grown quite big, and I'm almost losing touch with the number of people that are actually joining, and it's only been a few weeks. So really, just get out there and do it. So on Friday, we're going to do a getting started training. Particularly aimed at new people, but also to anybody who wants to understand this. Because remember, some people are not network marketers. They haven't been in this industry. They don't understand the psychology behind it all. That it's not sales, but it's understanding people. And if you haven't read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, that's a very, very good book written a long time ago, but it still applies today. So again, we teach you all these skills that we learn in the various material and books we have. So yeah, so 10 o'clock Friday, we'll be doing that training. We'll be recording it all. It'll be put up on my YouTube channel, and you'll have access to it, and you'll be able to give it to your new people. And again, going back to the system, guys, understand the importance of the system. When you get to your retirement or the day you leave work, you want to know that your people are being taken care of. You want to know that you haven't created a full-time job, because I could walk away now and know that everything will still be all right because of the number of leaders in the team. I know that it would carry on growing. So that's what you want. You want a situation, but I want to help that grow even bigger, and I want to help more leaders. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it, and I think you'll begin to love it too, as you grow with us and grow with the people in it. We're going to be in this business for a long time, so you better make sure the people you bring in are people you get on with. So I'd like to just give one final word to Volker, who's none of us would be here if it wasn't for him. So he can say a few words, and we'll close off for the night. So let me go to you, Volker. There you go.
Unmuted. Thank you. I'm not used to being muted, Derek. I'm used to chatting away. No, I thank you, Colin and Nicholas, for those wonderful presentations. I learned a little bit more. I think that that memory jogger's pretty nifty. So already copied that and pasted it elsewhere so that we can use it again. It definitely inspires you, doesn't it? Because I mean, my list is getting bigger all the time. I've not actually added it to it for a while because it's so big already. And I'm one of those people that never used to be able to create a list. When in the networking industry, when people used to say, make a list, I'd be going, I don't know anybody. I've just got my family and they're all old and they don't want to know. And suddenly I realized that your list can be absolutely anybody. Just like Nicholas said, everybody and anybody can be on that list. And LinkedIn that we're using, Facebook, it could be Instagram, it could be anywhere. Literally, you just connect to people. When you connect to somebody, put them on your list and then follow it up. So thank you very much. Wonderful presentations. I'm not going to drag it out because we've got plenty of training sessions going on. We've got plenty of presentations to listen to, and we've got plenty of work to do as well, which is sharing this opportunity. I want to say thank you to everybody for coming tonight to learn a little bit more and to advance themselves in this opportunity. Guys, I can't say enough about this wonderful hyper fun journey. Like Derek has said, once you start sharing it, once you start growing a team, you really see the power of how this can go. It just gets better and better every day. So keep smiling, enjoy the journey, and just make the most of this as much as you can. So over and out from me.
Okay, great timing. Just after 9 o'clock. So brilliant, everyone. And if you have any questions, get back to your upline or your mentor in the business, and we'll endeavor get back to me, Nicholas, or even Volker, any of us really, and even Colin. I can't see him on there. So Colin, thank you very much for your input as well. So thank you, everyone, and good night, and look forward to seeing you on Friday, the ones who want to join the Getting Started courses. And other than that, I'll see you at one of these presentations very soon. Thank you.
All right, Rob.